Recording. Hey guys, welcome to the weekend and happy Sunday. How's everybody doing today? How is your weekend going? I wanted to talk to you today about an important company that just rolled out an update, and that company is DataBricks. And so, what they just released is basically a brain that builds in the background overnight while you're sleeping, while your company is processing information. And then what you do is you just point your agents to that brain and it has all of the context that it needs. And so let me explain a use case for this and why this is so powerful. So at this point, everyone has basically moved past experimentation and everybody is building agents. And this guy's building an agent and that guy's building an agent. And what happens is aside from the fact that it's extremely redundant and wasteful, and you're spending a lot more money in tokens than you need to because you have two different people in two different departments basically building the same thing. And that's just wasteful in itself. But here's what Databricks has solved for. Instead of me building a specific agent and then training that agent on my company's data or on a company's data, and then I need to spin off a new agent and train it again, then a new agent and train it again, and then you multiply that across departments, whether you're talking about a couple hundred people or a couple 100,000 people, it's incredibly wasteful. What they've done is they've said the brain, and it's like a graph, you can see it. The brain is built in the background and it has all the context of all of your data in your company. Obviously, you have to connect it so it can run and do this stuff in the background. And anytime you want to spin off an agent, you just connect it to this brain. And the visualization is pretty cool. You should check it out on their website. You connect it to this brain, and then you no longer need to retrain it on all of your information. This saves a tremendous amount of time and a tremendous amount of token. It is much more efficient the way to go. So in layman's terms, think about it like this. You want to bake some cookies, and every time you go to bake cookies, you need to write out the ingredients, and then you need to go buy the ingredients, and then you need to mix the ingredients, and then you need to make the cookies. Instead, when you go to make cookies, the recipe's already there, the ingredients are already there, you just mix and go. And that's what the brain does in the background. So that's why this is so important, this update from Databricks. It's only a couple bucks a month to buy their service. Once again, it depends on how large your organization is, your small business, and how many people you have. The more people, the more data, the more money it costs. But it's definitely worth it. So traditionally, what Databricks has done as a company is very powerful. At the end of the day, it's just all data. So whether you're a finance guy, you're a healthcare person, you're fintech, whatever it is, it's just data. And if you understand data, then you're going to be okay. There's two types of data. There's structured and unstructured data. So what they did was they said, for your unstructured data, we have a data warehouse, like little building blocks. That's why they call it data bricks. Brick by brick, it's built. So structured data is like Excel spreadsheets, Microsoft Word, queries, position information, transaction level information, whether you're talking about credit cards or trading, customer or patient information line by line. It is data that is presented in a structured way. And so over here on the left side, they have these bricks that build upon each other, and they put all those bricks together and they call that a data warehouse. And that's how they access the structured data. On the other side, you have what they call unstructured data, which I don't really know if it's unstructured, but that's just the word everybody uses. Unstructured data is like video files, pictures, data that is not structured like something you would see in an Excel spreadsheet kind of thing. And that they tend to put in what they call a data lake. Now, the differences between a data lake and a data warehouse is structured and unstructured data. And some people will tell you that when you're querying unstructured data, it's not as efficient because it's just so huge as something like a data warehouse that you can pull quicker, but you get access to much more information in a data lake. Regardless, what they do on top of that is they build what they call a data mart. And this is just like going to a supermarket. It's just a store. And when you go to the store, you can buy apples, you can buy oranges, you can buy pie, you can buy whatever you want. You don't have to go here, there, and you don't have to go to a bunch of different stores. So they build a store on top of it called a data mart. All right. So they've been doing this for years. This is nothing new. On top of that, they have something called Apache Spark. This is open source stuff. They made it accessible to everybody. You can build this stuff on your own if you like, or you can, like I said, in my opinion, it's better to just pay them a couple bucks a month to do this for you. And what Apache Sparks is allows all of that messaging to happen, and you can access your structured and your unstructured data through the supermarket, through the data market, whether you're talking about the data warehouse or the data lake. Okay, great. So here's the next step. The next step is that on top of this structure, this foundation that they've already had, that is really well done for pulling data, they've built this AI, what I'm calling an AI brain, that scans all of your company's data in the background constantly. It constantly updates itself, it reindexes itself. And once again, like I said in the beginning of the video, so why is this so important? This is so important because here's another practical example. You want to spin off an HR agent, and you spin off an HR agent and you train it on 50 different documents, 50 gigs of documents. And now it's like a really good HR agent, HR specialist. Great. Everybody's happy. But then the next couple days, the next couple weeks, the next couple months, you're like, well, we kind of need another agent similar to this to do something similar. You have to retrain it on all those documents. You need to refeed it all those documents, or you need to connect it to a document share, store, or library, and then have it run through that information. And then you need to go back and forth with it to make sure that it's retaining that information properly. All of that retraining goes away because you have the brain. DataBricks builds the brain, and you just connect to the brain one time. Every time you want to spin off a new agent or a new, what I call assistants, anytime you want a new assistant, you just spin it off on the brain. Very powerful, super cool, couple bucks a month, much more efficient, much more effective, and it reduces errors. You don't have to worry, is it trained properly? Because it sees everything. So then the only matter becomes, do I want this to be an HR agent? Is it a financial analyst? Is it customer service? In other words, I want to give it restrictions, or do I want it to be all knowing and all seeing? You probably want to have restrictions and do a personification exercise to say it's going to take on this personification and it's going to be able to action A, B, C, X, Y, Z, and it's not going to action this, right? That's the only thing you put in place. Check out, that's the message for today. Check out Databricks. Check out what they just did in their newest release. Let me know what you think about it. Let me know how you guys are using this in your businesses, or if you're going to use that. All right. Have a great weekend. Welcome to the weekend. Happy Sunday. Remember to hustle harder. Let's talk again soon. Bye-bye.